Broad Street Review podcast is an extension of Broad Street Review, Philly's home for arts, culture, and conversation, an online arts and culture journal covering the greater Philadelphia area. I'm your host, Darnell Radford. Today on the podcast, we visit Camden Rep to talk about the upcoming event, Hammer and Nails Conference, an offering that introduces girls of color to behind-the-scenes careers in theater and film. Here is my interview with Camden Rep for Hammer and Nails. And welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Darnell Radford, and today I am in the virtual studio with Camden Repertory, who is here to talk about an upcoming event called Hammer and Nails, a conference that is designed to introduce girls of color to behind-the-scenes careers in theater and film. And so I'm here with a couple of representatives from Camden Rep, and I will let them introduce themselves, starting with Pamela.
So, hi, I'm Pam Bridgeforth. I'm Managing Director for Camden Repertory Theater.
Hi, I'm Angelique Hainsworth, or better known as Angel, and I am the Associate Producer of Camden Rep.
Great. Welcome to the virtual studio.
Thank you for having us. This is very exciting.
Yeah. So I have been to Camden Rep, but I haven't been there in a while. So we'll take an opportunity to have you tell us about Camden Rep.
So we are a professional theater company, nonprofit theater company, working in the city of Camden, New Jersey. Our founder, Desi Shelton, designed the company as a community development entity that focuses and uses art as a way to kind of build community. But we think about community development in a non-traditional sense. For us, it always begins with people. And so we're using the storytelling, we're using the playmaking as an opportunity to build people's sense of imagination and experimentation. And parallel to that work, or helping to elevate that work, is some very aggressive work around training people to actually step into adult professional careers in the arts through our PACE program, preparing artists for college exploration. Where we're working with young people from freshman year of high school to high school graduation and beyond, training them in a range of theater arts, performing arts, musical instrumentation, all of that, instrumental music, as well as production arts. And we have been doing this now in the city of Camden for close to 20 years. We're getting ready to celebrate our 20th anniversary towards the middle of 2025, but we're ramping up and preparing for the celebrations now. Hammer and Nails is kind of a refinement of our PACE program, which focuses on taking the backstage work, the work that is not necessarily seen, but is absolutely seen, and showcasing for young people, particularly young women of color, that this is a pathway into accessing the creative arts. Many people feel that they may not be interested in or even have talent enough to be on the stage. But what we're saying is there's an opportunity for you behind the stage, even before the theatrical activity even begins, to really help tell powerful stories. And that powerful story is married with with powerful economic benefit as well. So this is we've been running Hammer and Nails now for a number of years. This is the first time we've had a full-scale conference, and we're really excited about it, and turn the attention over to my colleague, Angel, who will tell you more about the Hammer and Nails conference.
Take it away, Angel.
The Hammer and Nails Conference is going to be February 3rd at the Creative Arts High School in Camden, New Jersey. We do a lot of partnership with them. It's 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and we are featuring a few production managers, lighting designers, costume designers, Perkins, Marci Rodgers, Pamela Hobson, and Toni Barton, and a few more that we're still gathering some designers to come on. But I'm really excited about it. It's going to be a good time.
Great.
Angel was our very first. She's an alum of the Hammer and Nails program.
Wow, wonderful. I kind of wondered that at first because I before we hit record, I was like, Angelique, tell me what your involvement with Camden Rep is. But looking at it, I assumed, I was like, I wonder if Angelique was a part of the program.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I met Miss Desi my senior year of college, and I was a theater major at Cheney University, and I, of course, I believed I was going to be an actress. We all do. Going to be the biggest Broadway star, but I knew from an early age that stage management was my thing. And so I just got to delve into that more after meeting Miss Desi. Upon graduating, I began an internship at Camden Rep, therefore being hired. I just moved my way up to now being a producer for the company. It's pretty cool. And that's like the opportunities we like to give to all of our students. And that's pretty much why we're having a conference now, so that we can expose other girls like myself to the world of backstage.
Cool. Well, theater artists live in act form, so you never know what your next act will be. You might end up on that stage with a solid foundation in production.
Yeah.
And Angel's gone on to be the producer of some of our most influential work. I mean, she produced our Unfinished Women that we did in 2023, which had incredible acclaim, was directed by China Michelle, also an alum of the Camden Repertory PACE program. We really believe at Camden Rep that it's the storytelling is a powerful and important and essential activity of what we do. But even more important is the opportunity to have people have the runway, the freedom to be able to tell their story, right? And sometimes giving them the kind of the room to kind of dream and grow and test. We often don't get it as people of color, particularly in live performance settings, right? They just want us to go out and sing, go act, and get off the stage, right? And so it's very much a part of our ethos at CRT to create an environment where young people feel that they can test themselves, can grow, whether it's on the stage or behind the scenes. It's an incredible set of opportunities that we try to support for our young people, because we know, in having seen the arc of our work over the last 19 and a half plus years, that it pays a tremendous dividends. We have young people from working all over the country right now, doing some extraordinary things. Some of them in the arts, some of them in Broadway, some of them working on national network television, others doing things like graduating from law school, getting their dental degree, practicing medicine all over the country. So for us, the art is essential, but even what is more essential is giving people that opportunity to use art to find their own individual talent so they can step out and do what they need to do to conquer the world, and hopefully come back to the city of Camden and bring their extraordinary talent and work and energy into our city. And you're beginning.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It would be a shame to have talent come out of Camden and then never return.
Yes, that's what we're trying to fight. That's why Desi, when she created this opportunity, it was really, like I said, the long game of community development, right? It always starts with people. And then those people can bring back the resources, can nurture the resources, attract other resources to build strong, vibrant communities where you want to raise your children, where you want to play a part in the vitality, something that's essential to our work.
Yeah. This event stood out for me because I come from stage management. Is my background in theater. And I was actually kind of tricked into joining the drama club in high school. One of my friends who was like a popular kid, there were people trying to get him to join the drama club, and I think he compromised with them and said, "I will get you people." And so he encouraged us to join, and I said, if he's in it, then it can't be that bad. And, I'm sitting down and I literally see him exit stage left, like I almost certain that he shook a hand, some money was exchanged, and then he was gone. And I was very upset, but at the same time, I was like, I'll stay through the meeting and maybe I won't come back. Then they assigned me to sound design.
Oh.
And I was like, I guess I'm in it.
Yeah, you got bit by the theater bug. That's what I like to say.
And then I never looked back. It has been my life since 1994, I would say.
Okay.
However, in fourth grade, I was in a play. I had 2 lines. So if you count that, it's probably like 90, just earlier on.
You still technically on stage. You're on a virtual stage right now with the podcast.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there was a point where I just realized, in order to get this done, somebody has to keep the trains running on time. And it just felt like a better situation for me. I'm sure maybe, Angel, you may have felt the same thing.
It's like you just took my words verbatim. I was just writing my speech for the conference actually, and I said pretty much exactly the same thing. In the 7th grade, I was in a dance show and I was a performer, but there was no one to call the cues or pull the curtain. And the choreographer was like, "Who's going to do it?" And I was like, "I will." And that's how I became a stage manager.
Yeah. I mean, I assume that young people of color gravitate towards the performance side because that's what we see. We see a lot of great performers, not just in theater and film, but also in entertainment in general and sports as well. Like we're looking at all the people we can look up to say that we can do this are out front, performing, but we don't get to see the behind the scenes people. We don't know that there's like an accountant somewhere who's making sure everybody's money's right. There's a producer making sure everything happens on time. And, we don't get a chance, the behind the scenes people don't get a chance to take a bow at curtain call.
Exactly.
And so,
it's so good. I'm so glad you said that, Ernell, because when I talk to people about hammer and nails in general, they're kind of like, okay, I guess I get it. But then when I say, when you look at any kind of movie or television and there's a whole panoply of names that come up on that screen, all those people are behind the scenes. That's a multi-billion-dollar industry. In the live performing arts industry alone, this was on the American Recording Art Academy's website, based on an economic study that was done, I think, in 2019. They estimate that the live music industry alone, just the live music industry alone, and we're not even talking about like artist fees. We're talking about the whole thing, what it takes to carry out a live performance. We're talking in that range of $130+ billion. That's billion with a B, right?
Wow.
And in the nonprofit sector, our economic impact, that's the overall economic impact. And this is a very conservative estimate. It's 2.8 billion with a B. Now, when we think about how the money slices for people of color, invariably, okay, they'll give us the money for the performance because you can't do the show without the performer. But in reality, the real money, the money that will go on regardless of whether or not you have a sore throat or you broke leg or whatever, because the show has to go on, is behind the scenes. And so this is the other element that really is kind of got a fire in our belly about pushing the hammer and nails kind of agenda and pushing this as an opportunity, a pathway towards not just a job or not just a career, but it is a community and family sustaining pathway, regardless of the various ways you want to do it. And so just really helping young people think about, I hadn't really thought about this concept of stage managing, production management, sound design. I mean, how many people of color are doing that? Darnell, you probably could count on one hand with 3 fingers the same people that look like you when you go into meetings with other theater companies across the state or across the region. That don't make no sense. And yet, when you look at the main stage season announcements, it's a very different thing when you see us on the marketing, on the marquee. You see our name on the starring and also ran by, So for us, it's really important for us it's great to be elevated as a performing artist, and it's important for that. But at the same time, it's equally important for us to elevate ourselves, elevate the opportunities for the things that happen to support the performing artists. Mm-hmm. That for us is like the engine that's helping to drive this energy that in which we're organizing this conference. And we're hoping to attract, as we do this conference this year and build on this for subsequent years, is to attract other performing venues, whether they be concert halls, theater organizations like Theater in the Exile. We want to invite you to come as our guests to really help elevate this conversation beyond just, okay, we're going to tell some kids how to do this. We want to tell them actually how to enter into these jobs, whether it's through apprenticeships, internships, whatever, to help them get to the next level where we want them to go.
Absolutely. When you were talking about how, when we're on the marquee and in the promotion, we see a lot of color there. And it's sort of like the opposite of the black of the house that they would often say in restaurants and so on. I've had many conversations over the years with companies about the fact that, I love the work that you're putting on stage. It's impactful. It's making me think. It's like, it's resonating. However, it's very diverse on your stage, but then you get into your office and it's white as snow. And I'm starting to question, like, why are you producing this show? It's like, of course, we don't want to give the assumption that, if you're black, you can only produce black theater.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I do question why, white leaders are jumping into this diversity on their stage, but cannot see them as colleagues and people that work behind the scenes to bring the show to life.
And that's the other element. I want to be frank and upfront, and maybe perhaps a little too transparent. Darnell, when we were organizing this, it took us a long time to get to this point because we faced resistance with our colleagues across the river, all throughout the region. Not that they didn't want to participate, but they didn't know how. Mm-hmm. And it strikes me as really telling and powerful about where we are as an industry, right? We're supposed to be on the forefront of kind of the egalitarian system, the system of breaking through traditional boundaries of sex roles and gender roles and race and class. And yet very much the American theater industry very much is a part of the status quo, even though we are showcasing stories that are supposed to be anti-status quo. Yeah. So that is a real challenge of the industry moving forward. And it's one of the things that we know as we try to build more opportunities for the Hammer and Nails Conference and young women who are coming through the training program, we really kind of have to roll up our sleeves and work with our colleagues to educate them about these kinds of opportunity, nurturing more of these kinds of meaningful opportunities. We sat on a call with the folks who organize who around the LORT theater system. And, we very much are trying to apply for the LORT slot. And we had very frank conversations with them about how do our young people enter into actor as equity, through internships, or how do we enter into the costume designers unions through internships and scenic internships. And, the response was very quiet. And that's not accusatory. It's not, they're not doing what they should be. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is we are at a time now, the 21st century, where it should be an automatic, this is what we are doing. This is what we can do. And I don't want to sell the LORT people down the river. They were very forthcoming with some of the activity that they were specifically kind of in charge of. But just the mere fact that there was no other information, no other conversation around how do you get people of color to access things like ITAS, which is the International Stagehands Union, or, all these other things. Like, how do you even get an application? Don't tell me you're not going to give me a job. You won't even give me the application to fill out.
Yeah.
So those are real. And we have to work very consistently and very thoughtfully about how we open more doors. Not asking, what's the James Brown song? I'm not, what is it like? I'm not asking for you to give me a handout, just give me a chance. That's all. I'm not asking for any other kind of better, treatment, but don't close the door on me entirely. Don't close it up and mortar up the building where I can't even put my head, my nose through the door. Like, no.
It is interesting. We have an IATSE location in Philadelphia, but don't hear much from them in terms of like recruiting. It is kind of mysterious. How do you get in here? Yeah, you have to get in through the company somehow. But and they have been making some strides. Like Actors Equity, which includes stage managers, has sort of an open access program where you could, if you were paid at least $600 on a show, you can now apply to become a member of Actors Equity. And so while that is a plus, it only came up because they were hurting for members. And so, everything, it's just like the pandemic was like a watershed moment where they were just like, let's give Black people a chance. How about that? You know what? You want to run this struggling company? Here you go. Good luck. It's like, but we're not supposed to be bitter. We're supposed to be eternally grateful for this opportunity. And we're definitely going to do the best we can.
You should call that the glass cliff, right? It's like people of color or women of color or women in general opportunities when the shit's about to hit the fan, as it were.
Absolutely.
Job.
Are you at all familiar with Black Theater United?
No.
This is an organization in New York that it had a couple other names before it got organized, but in general, they have an education initiative where they are preparing and providing access to aspiring Black theater professionals pursuing careers in the industry.
And you say it's called what again?
Black Theater United.
Okay.
For all you listeners, I'll put it in the show notes, but it's Black Theater with REUnited.com. It was a great resource. Before I joined Theater Exile, I was in connection with them, and there were opportunities to explore company management and with some companies, and it's been really cool. They've been having a lot of talkbacks and a lot of discussions to try to raise more to advocate for Black artists in the community.
Wow, that sounds exciting. You definitely want to follow up on that, because that would be a wonderful opportunity for our young people, wonderful opportunity for us as a professional theater company, looking for company, for stage managers and folks to help us, particularly as we go on tour across the country. We're getting ready to do a national tour soon. So that's a fabulous opportunity. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, as we're talking today, the Oscar nominations came out this morning. And it making me think about, Oscars So White a couple of years ago, and then all the, the reckoning that all these organizations had to come to. It's like, are you kidding? There is tons of talent from people of color, and how are you ignoring them? How are you missing this? And it does seem like it's kind of changing a little bit. There's a lot of representation in the nomination pool this time. Particularly, I can't hear anything but Wicked. It's just everything about Wicked. Yeah. I'm so happy for all their nominations.
And deservedly so. That's encouraging to hear.
Absolutely.
And yet we know that so much more needs to happen. And part of our mission here at CRT is figuring out ways in which we can help kind of continue to do our part to kind of elevate that and nurture that. One of the things that we're thinking about as part of our new development plans, we are actually getting ready to break ground when you rehab a building. So we're purchasing a major building in downtown Camden where we are going to rehab that into our main home. And as part of the activities in that facility, we will have a Hammer and Nails Academy. So it's going to be a training facility for teaching stagecraft as well as costume design and sound and lighting design. And so our hope and goal is that, we will have within a very short period of time, a cadre of extremely well-trained professionals of color coming from, getting their feet wet with us, training and apprenticing with us so that we can send them out to other facilities across the region and the country, so that there's a steady stream of highly qualified, experienced professionals ready to go to work in any theater, any performance facility, anywhere in the country. That's our goal. In addition to all the other things that we have in our kind of portfolio of activity, that's something that's been a directive from our founder and artistic director Desi Shelton, is to be able to do this powerful export of talent that also imports some great vitality and energy for our city.
Yeah, great. Creating a good pipeline in Camden.
Trying to.
I was going to ask over the opportunities to present Hammer and Nails. Have you seen a trend in where the interest is more sparked? Is it more theater or film, or are there specific roles that, like, after these conversations, they say that's what I want to do?
Angel, I'll let you talk on that since you have more interaction with our young people.
Well, I notice a lot of times that the girls are always interested in costume.
That's fine.
Which is natural.
Absolutely.
And we definitely get a good spark for stage management as well. And I think I add to that a little bit, just because it's fun to me, and I try to make it fun when we get our, interns or the students to help out. It just becomes a fun thing. So definitely like costume and stage management are like the big areas of interest, but I really want to encourage more girls to go into lighting. Definitely. And of course sound.
Yeah. And over on the other side of the water, Philadelphia has quite a bit of talent of color behind the scenes, and we're always just blown away to see their work, and very happy. Like when I look at the playbill and say, "Oh, okay, yes, happy to see that." And sometimes, which is good, but it's also like a little cringe, like when a company goes out of their way to say we have an all-female production team, or like we have an all persons of color team, and it's just like, who needed you to say that? We could figure that out. It's just always funny, like the community it never wants to acknowledge its fault. It always wants to look at it as like a celebration. It's like, guess what we're doing?
That's funny that
I don't always get to point these things out.
But you said that. I'm glad you said that.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, we've just been seeing like the influence of people of color. Like we are able to see, we have different perspectives that when they're in the room mixed with everyone else's, like, there's a lot of interesting conversation that comes up, and the original ideas evolve from there.
Absolutely.
And so, I am glad to see that there's an initiative pushing people of color, particularly girls of color, to see these opportunities as a reality, because they really are. And it starts from your interests. If you love to dress up and take care of all that stuff, and you start to see like, I can make that. I should make that. And then if you can make it, you can make it for a bunch of other people too. And then you become so valuable. I remember early on, I started my own theater company in 2005. And, my grandmother would go to like Joanne Fabrics on Saturday, get everything they needed, patterns and everything. And by the end of Saturday night, had an outfit for Sunday at church. And I'm just like, you better get it. And I remember saying to her, like, you could create custom costume designs for my theater company. You could do that. And in the time frame that you take your time. But yeah, it's like, it's already in us to be creative and figure out, like, you know what, I can make that instead of buying it, or I'm going to pay attention. Maybe I'll take this apart and put it back together. And then if I can do that, let's see what else I can do.
Absolutely.
I think it's very inspiring.
Yeah, that's powerful. The story that you told about your grandmother, I think a lot of people have similar stories who are really working in in theater craft in one form or another, being inspired by someone who you either mentored with or grew up in the neighborhood with, or in their own family saw their mother or grandmother or auntie, sitting at the table, sewing something or making something out of nothing. We have that's our strength as a race, Black Americans. We take very little. You don't have to give us a whole lot for us to make something out of it. Yeah. So it's natural, kind of direction or progression for us to be in the live performing space and be able to, like how we've done in the last 2 or 3 years since the pandemic, we've been able to do amazing productions in a little tiny row house in downtown Camden. People, and they're like, what are we coming to see? And then it's like they're blown away because we took what we had and into something bigger than we recognized and appreciated until others were saying, wow, this is innovative and important. So yes, absolutely. I think that is the hallmark of our people. And it's just, I think, like you said, this is now a prescient time for us as professionals to be thinking about how do we amplify this for the next generation of people to sit where you're sitting, Darnell, as Director of Operations for Theater Exile, and potentially, moving on into Managing Director or, Executive Director, either of Theater Exile or wherever you want to go. Like, to see you as an example, right, as a young Black man of color. I mean, really, how you get there, Darnell. And I just want to say, as a caveat for the Hammer and Nails, even though it's designed for women and girls of color, we don't exclude anybody. So if you show February 3rd, we got polka dots, we gonna take you in and we gonna have a good time.
Good to know.
So we feel it's important as an organization that was founded by a woman of color to serve stories told by people of color, just to kind of highlight it that way. But it's in no way like you can't come. We are always open and embracing, and we accept and want to have as many people as possible that we can serve effectively at the table with us, whether they're men, whatever, women, whatever, however you identify. That's really important for us to articulate or re-articulate here. Even though, like I said, we say for girls and women of color, all of CRT's programming is open for anyone.
Yeah. So how do you normally get the word out about this event? And are there resources that you are, I guess to say, currently lacking that if someone was listening, could provide or could steer towards Camden Rep?
Absolutely. So I would say typically how we get the word out is word of mouth. We're very, very good at that. Social media. And with regard to, and also our partnership with the schools, really, we have a very extraordinary partnership with Camden Creative Arts High, as well as Camden High, and other schools in the South Jersey and Philadelphia region, but particularly the Camden High and Creative Arts High. Our founder is an embedded artist within the school system in Camden's public schools. So that really helps in terms of spreading the word. But I will say, when we think about opportunities, one of the things that we offer every year is internship opportunities for folks that might be looking to enter into the professional sector. The other way is to, email us. You can email me at PamelaB@CamdenRep.com. PAMELAB as in boy @CamdenRep.com. And tell us what you might be able to help us with, because we could use everything from marketing to management support to costuming to hair design, all of that. If there's an interest that you have, either in trying to learn more about the sector or wanting to come share your expertise with us, we, are eager to hear from you. and we'll find a way to slot you into what it is we're trying to accomplish. We think that many hands make success, and we believe that.
Yeah. Yeah. So all those listeners out there, this conversation is ever evolving.
Exactly.
So you can always find a way to get in and be a part of this conversation.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Is there anything else you want to say about the events, about Camden Rep before we wrap up?
Angel, gotta do our plug for Hammer Nails.
Oh, well, if you're available February 3rd, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., please come and see what we have to offer.
It's open free of charge, particularly for young people. We ask that if you think you're going to bring more than a couple people, you need to just RSVP or just text us, email us. Like I said, that Pamela B at camdenrep.org. That way we know we can accommodate everyone. One of the things that's really important for us is that we want to make people comfortable and that we have enough resources for everyone. We provide food for people. It'll be a fun, interactive session. And if you are not able to join us for the February 3rd session, sign up on our mailing list. We'll be sending you information about our upcoming season and further opportunities to interact with Hammer and Nails throughout the year. And our follow-up conference that will happen in 2026.
Great. All right. So everybody, that's Camden Rep presents Hammer and Nails Conference, February 3rd, 10 to 2. We have the links in the show notes. You can go to camdenrep.com to learn more about Camden Rep. And we also have the Eventbrite link. Is that correct? There's an Eventbrite link for this event. So that's in there as well. Pamela, Angel, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me about Camden Rep and Hammer and Nails. I'm so glad this exists, especially for everybody over in Camden to see their way into this business, because the path isn't always clear. Unfortunately, you just have to want it so bad to find a way in. And this clears a path and makes it a little bit more accessible to everybody. So thank you all for doing this and bringing it to our attention so that we can help shine a light on it as well.
Thank you for having us.
So much.
Absolutely. But thank you, because this was truly a pleasure.
Same here.
Thank you to our guests, Pamela Bridgeforth and Angelique Hainsworth at Camden Rep, for joining us on today's podcast. The Broad Street Review podcast is an Emory production. If you would like to be a guest on the podcast, visit us online at em3ry.com. Get involved with Broad Street Review. Head on over to our website at www.broadstreetreview.com and click Get Involved at the top. While you're there, help keep us running and click Donate to find out how. There you can also find our social media links. Thank you for your part in keeping the conversation going.